I am successful. I look for and find opportunities where others see nothing. I am a lifetime learner. I am solution focused. I see only solutions. I am a solution. Welcome to the Be Transformed podcast. I'm the catalyst and my name is Lanre Olusola. And this is your go-to space for very practical, mind-transforming conversations that empower you to overcome all of life's greatest challenges. This is where transformation meets truth and purpose ignites destiny. Today, we're talking about a very, very powerful topic. Now, I've got a question to ask, and then we will lean into the topic. Is artificial intelligence your friend, or is it your enemy? And how can you use artificial intelligence to thrive and to succeed? That's what we're talking about today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the world has gone completely bonkers. The world has changed. Jobs have gone global. Artificial intelligence is reshaping how we work. More professionals are asking, how can I really earn more money? How can I earn in dollars, in pounds, in euros from anywhere I live? Wow, people want to live in Africa and they want to be, earning dollars and pounds and all of that. And on the show today, we've got an expert. I am very excited that Dr. Dittimi, a world-class product innovation expert, fractional chief product officer, and tech career mentor, is with us. He has helped hundreds of immigrants and professionals break into very high-paying global roles from the comfort of their own homes. So this is for every African that is looking to break into that global, AI space and earn dollars in six figures. He has over 15 years of experience building several products, and his products, over 30 of them, have generated in excess of $50 million. Dr. Finn got his PhD in artificial intelligence, check this out, and machine learning before AI became a trend. Wow. Whether you're curious about artificial intelligence or you are considering to pivot in your career remotely, or you want to start earning six figures in foreign currency from anywhere in the world, this conversation and episode is for you. It's of great pleasure for me to have you, Dr. Finn. Welcome to my podcast. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Larry, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Wow. Awesome. So we've got so much to talk about, man. I have so much to learn on artificial intelligence. I'm so curious, and I always constantly want to evolve, and develop myself. So my very first question is, I'm speaking for myself. I'm speaking for a lot of us out there. Doc, imagine that I'm a novice, right? And there are many novices out there that don't have the kind of, you have a PhD in artificial intelligence. We don't have the kind of knowledge that you have. We're illiterates. Please educate us. What exactly is artificial intelligence? What are its capabilities? What is it able to do and not do? Because a lot of people are saying different things and they are scared. So break it down for us in the simplest terms so that we can get it.
Thanks, Dr. Larry. This is a very interesting question. So what is AI? AI, as we kind of abbreviated, which is artificial intelligence, is basically taking knowledge that exists and extrapolating information that helps you predict knowledge that does not exist. So I know that there are 5 people standing here around 9 a.m. on Mondays. So next week, I can say 5 people will be standing there again because I have seen every Monday for the last 5 weeks, 5 people are standing at this bus stop. But we are not in the future, so I do not know. And that's why we call it artificial intelligence. So it's intelligence that is actually extrapolated from existing information, which means that there has to be existing information that is accurate, that is predictable in order for us to be able to predict future occurrence. So AI is basically let us figure out the future from what we already know. And how, and in general, people think about, when they think about AI, they think about it as a different field, but it's actually just an add-on to existing knowledge. Let us expand what we already know by not creating new situations, but learning from the.
Wow, this is deep. This is deep. This is deep. So it's about understanding patterns. It's
Yes.
about understanding, occurrences and taking intel from the past and using it to predict or analyze today and tomorrow.
Yes. So the funny thing
Yeah, please go ahead.
about AI is, prior to it, because AI was more a catchy name, we actually used to call it pattern recognition. So those that were in the AI space 10, 15 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, we were seen as recognizing patterns. That was the industry. But over time, we needed a name that was more marketable or more mainstream, and it evolved to become AI, which is basically, let us recognize a pattern and let us, based on that pattern, plan for future patterns or predict future patterns or even use it as a framework to move future patterns to the direction that we want.
Wow, 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 wow. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. So, AI is a futurist.
Yes.
AI is a mathematician. AI is an actuarist. AI is able to study existing patterns or what is and use it to create what you want. Wow, wow, wow. This is deep. This is deep. Guys, you've heard it. So all that fear that you have, it simply means that AI is your friend if you use it well. If you do not compete against other people that use it, they'll be able to predict the future, analyze the present, taking patterns, and intel from the past, and so they will surpass you. So AI has become a companion. It has become a partner. It has become something that has come to help you do the work that you should be doing by researching. So AI is a research tool.
Yes. So actually, AI kind of boiled down from companies having information about their customers. And when you have a bunch of information, we call it data. So a lot of companies realize that you can actually learn more about new customers and existing customers by looking at their patterns. So for example, let's take a shopping site, for example, where people buy stuff online. What time do people come on your site? What products are they buying? What combination of products do they buy the most? So that we can recommend and be able to extract more from you over time. And companies start realizing that if we can use this to learn about our existing customer, we can also use it to learn about potential future customers and patterns. And that led to digital marketing becoming one of the biggest area in the world nowadays, because it's about predicting. These guys bought this on Facebook, so we're going to look for people like them and sell to them or present this product in front of them.
Loving this. I'm loving this. So it is machine pattern recognition and learning so
Yes.
that you can plan, so that you can predict the future, and then you can arrest it and position yourself for it. Wow, this is deep. Now, people keep asking, people love security. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they love to secure their jobs. I mean, job security, financial security is one of the things that drive people, money and their career, because their career pays, and it helps them live the lifestyle that they desire. So people are asking, is artificial intelligence going to take over all our jobs?
So that's a very interesting question that I've heard a lot of times, and I've seen that it's becoming something that's scaring people. But the truth is, artificial intelligence is not going to take your job. But the people that have identified this shift and having the first conscious and mindset shift and preparing to use artificial intelligence to augment their human capability will be the one to take your job. So it's not AI that is taking your job. It's the people that has found, like you said, the partnership between AI and their industry. And they're using it to be able to increase the speed of delivery and value that will now become not just taking your job, become the high value people that will earn the most. Because people gravitate towards areas that have scarcity. Scarcity equals to higher value, which equals to higher compensation. So AI wouldn't take your job. But people that understand how to use AI, understand how to improve their process using AI, and people that understand that AI will eliminate repetitive tasks. If you have to just click A, B, C, D, and that's your job, AI will replace it. And we all are familiar with the Industrial Revolution. Formerly in production or supply chain, humans were involved in a lot of the production of the equipment. Let's say you're making shoes, someone is producing the leather, someone is producing the sole, someone is stitching it. But now we have supply chain systems that are technology based that replace humans. But what did that do in the Industrial Revolution? It led to higher value needs for humans, which means that people that could operate those equipment, people that could build those equipment, that became the most useful people in those industries. And the same thing that AI is doing again. So we've always had this pattern disruption every couple of centuries, and AI is the next disruption. And the minute you're able to remove yourself from low value tasks, see AI as a partner, and see how to use AI actually to be able to add value to business, you become high value because AI isn't taking your job, but the people who enable AI to solve real problems.
Wow, wow. I'm loving this conversation. So a friend of mine, Fela Drotoye, he sent me a link. He sent me an Instagram link. And they said that MIT did a research. They checked the brain of the people that have been using AI and the brain of people that have not been using AI. And they said that 83% of people who have used ChatGPT, which is an AI tool, could not remember anything that they wrote a few minutes after. Only 11%, right, forgot it when they used, their own brain. They also said that, the brain scans told a very terrifying neural connection crash from 79 to 42. That is a 47% collapse. Now, what is this all about? Is it true? Is it people that are trying to speak against AI? Because there are always different conspiracy theories. What is your perspective?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So when it comes to any type of technology, you have to be intentional of how you use it for your own growth. For example, when we talk about social media, yes, we're seeing all the values given, but there's also MIT research and a bunch of research around it being addictive and leading to lower productivity by certain people. But if you go into the tech course space or software developers, it's actually the opposite for them because it helps to exercise their creative muscle for them to be better at software development.
Wow.
So sometimes if you take a generic view of everybody, because of the population of people that are affected or the sample size, you might not get the real sense. But when you start going into the macros, you start seeing that it has its benefits and it has its disservice in every industry. But one of the things we have to be clear on about AI is that, or any type of technology is, if you are not able to understand the value you want from it, you might become lazy. For example, let's take Tesla cars or self-driving cars. It's supposed to make life easier. But if it becomes a pattern, it might lead to people becoming lazy. Let's even talk about any other type of technology. You can talk about when people started looking at, cloud technology from companies moving from computers, which we call servers in their offices, to remote locations. And they said, oh, this will take people's jobs. This will make it hard. This will lead to security issues. So every industry would have its challenges. And AI is barely coming to the mainstream about 2-3 years to become commercially valuable. So there's still a lot of gaps and there's still a lot of education that is needed. But one thing that AI has unlocked is creativity. So people that are creative are excited because now you have a partner to talk to. Creative people tend to ramble a lot by themselves and talk through ideas by themselves. But now you have someone to have conversations with that you can give them the right indices to measure the type of creativity you want, and they can look at previous data and give you information. So, for example, when you think about ChatGPT, when people use it, they use it as the most lowest level of value, which is write copies for me, create a blog post for me. But then people are using it to write the same type of cover of blogs, but giving it a lot of indices that are based on their own knowledge. To say, this is what I have seen that worked because I've been writing blogs for the last 10 years. So use this indices to come up. And that's where the human partnership comes in. After that is provided, you still need to bring in your own knowledge and your own spin and voice into it. So yes, every technology has its cons, but it also opens a lot of opportunities. And one of the greatest opportunities I've seen with AI is creativity. And if you can identify how your creativity can partner with AI, you would see it rather as a tool to expand or become like a speaker megaphone that can expand your knowledge and expand the kind of information you can provide.
I love this conversation because, I've always said to people in my community, the future is given to a combination between spirit, mind, AI, and execution. Let me take that again. The future, for you to thrive, for you to succeed, for you to become absolutely significant in the future, you have to create a combination between spirit, mind, artificial intelligence, and execution. What do I mean? You have to be inspired. You download inspiration and intel that is not common to anyone. You process it in your mind and based on the purpose for which you were created. And then you engage AI to work with you, to find solutions to problems that you were created to solve, that you were inspired to act upon. And then AI gives you. And then you go back to mind and you work on it, right? In a way that is unique for you and unique for the people that you are called to serve. And then you execute with deadly precision. And as you are executing, you allow yourself to evolve and you keep engaging divine inspiration, which is spirit, your mind, and artificial intelligence as you are evolving. This is the future. Wow. Wow. Now let's go to money because Dr. Finn, that one is, I want to know. These six figures that you have helped many immigrants, with in foreign currency. Huh? Uh-huh. What's the blueprint for somebody out there that is listening today, especially people in the knowledge space, people in the people development space, people in the coaching and therapy space like me? How do we use AI to break forth? So people in the movie industry, in the music industry are making mad money. But we that were custodians of knowledge that shift and transform lives, we that were coaches, we that were therapists, we don't know how to pivot, right? We don't know how to access what the music people and the entertainment people have accessed. How do we access that space for six figures?
Thank you. One of the key things I kind of talk about when it comes to about earning is about value. And one of the biggest problem or the paradigm shift that I'm seeing and I've been talking about for years is how to increase your value and not the amount of time you're spending on a task. Because if your time is what determines what you earn, then you need to work more. But if your value is what determines, it means that for an hour you could triple the amount of value you give, which means you're able to triple the amount of income you make. The way to do that is to make sure that you're focusing on what we call high value skills, and in commercial language, we call it marketable skills. Companies know what they want to pay for. They want people that can extract information from people. Because a lot of times, when it comes to about building solutions, or when it comes to even the coaching space, or in the business space, or in building products for people, or services, or coming up with services for people, one of the biggest problem that we face is people think they know what they want. You can watch a person tell you about their day, and you can follow them around and watch their day, and you realize what they said to you and what they do is actually different. Because a lot of times we focus on the high value things, so we remember in the morning I do this, in the afternoon I do that. But what might be important might be those in between small tasks that we do without thinking about it because they've become our patterns. Because as humans, we also have patterns that we follow that becomes our routine. And some of those skill sets now are now roles that companies are willing to pay. For example, a business analyst. What does a business analyst do? They look at processes, they look at systems, They look at people and they find a way to make it better or make them work better in unison. That's all they do. But because now people are doing it using technology, we assume that as a business analyst is only in technology. It's in every other field. You're looking at how to make things better. That's what a therapist does. That's what the life coach does. How do we look at your processes, your systems, and find areas that we can interrupt or disrupt to improve your value? We also look at data, which is now becoming a field called data analysis and analytics and all of that, which is let us look at prior information about you to predict future patterns. And AI is just a booster to that. But it started from us having few information in an Excel sheet to us having few information in a database to us now having tank farms of data. But not everybody will have that level of information that ChatGPT or OpenAI has. But you have some information, or every business has certain information about them. And they need somebody to look at them and tell them, how can we make things better for our customers? How can we make processes better? So for example, a lot of companies, back in the days when you want to register on a platform, you have 10, 20 questions that were asked to you. And you're like, why do I need to answer all of this and you have not given me any value yet? Humans will take steps if they see value. We're innately selfish. That's our culture. If we see benefit for us, then we're willing to give you benefit. But through data, companies and data analysts were able to identify to say, are these questions we need answered today? Or they can answer it in the future. And then it will reduce, and nowadays it's just asking for your email, your name at most, and your password, and you log in. And while you're getting benefit, they start asking you to fill in things. And they disrupt you in a subtle manner. So you're like, oh, let me just give you my address, because if I give you my location, you might be able to customize certain things to my benefit. And that's how the data analyst field became bigger. And that's internally. And externally, why don't we? These are the type of people that are spending money on our products or utilizing our product. Let's go find them. And that's how they provided value to marketing. And then we have product management. People want to take a service and wrap it up and make it into a digital product. A product is basically just a service that does not require humans, but technology to run it. So, for example, if you're doing counseling processes and you've been able to put together, identify knowledge of the type of questions people can answer that can help you identify certain things before you come into your sessions, that's something that can be useful instead of you having multiple sessions. So, technology is becoming an enabler and it's not adding speed. And these are some of the roles, and even in the digital marketing space. These are some of the roles that people are now seeing that are becoming useful. And most time people look at these roles, they're looking from a technology space rather from a value space. How can this add value to the industry that I am a part of? And another key thing is about building a personal brand. One of the key problems that a lot of us that were core technologists were was we kind of just went heads down. We can do it, we have done it. Those that had basic knowledge of really small parts were making noise and giving a lot of wrong information that weren't accurate because they did not have the experience.
Mm.
But now, over the last 5-10 years, we're not seeing that people that have acquired the experience in different fields that have the knowledge are now speaking about it and giving you practical information about what has worked for people and having conversations on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, on podcasts like this to actually educate people from their prior experience. And when you think about prior experience, it means that you have to be doing the work. You cannot be an influencer that does not have the personal knowledge about what you're doing. So now what's happening with this shift is that the people that are doing the work are now coming to talk about it and leveraging online platforms to propagate their knowledge about these different fields. And now what's now needed is how do we now build together these learning paths, which is the skill set that you need to be able to connect technology to your industry, which is roles like product management, business analyst, we have Scrum Master, project managers, and multiple other roles, just to name a few. And then finding areas that can help you extrapolate the knowledge you already have. Because one of the biggest thing I answer a lot is that, oh, I've never worked in tech, or I've never really used technology, or I don't have any experience in tech. And I start asking them questions. Have you used WhatsApp? You say, yes, that's technology. Have you used Zoom before? That's technology. You go on YouTube, that's technology. Netflix. So technology is all around you, but we do not understand because we have commonized it, not to realize that we're all technologists in the last 10 years because we use it every day. Back in the days, you want to have a meeting, you have to physically travel to go meet people. We couldn't be having this type of, I have to come to your location, have this type of, but now technology is making the world smaller. And the second part of, oh, I do not have any skill sets. And I asked, okay, have you been in charge of engaging people, communicating? I said, yes, in my previous roles, I've been communicating. Have you collaborated with people and worked together? Because dealing with humans is difficult. We all have our own personalities, our own challenges. So ability to work with people to achieve a single goal requires some type of scientific backing, which is a lot of things behind it. And he said, yes, you've done. I said, okay, that's another skill set that is needed. Have you also been able to negotiate to get people to agree on a solution? And he said yes. And we keep going on and on. I'm like, these are the soft skills that companies are paying a lot of money. And one of the things that opened my eyes was when I moved into the executive cadre, you realize that 90% of the time we're quarreling and 10% of the time we're agreeing. So your ability to negotiate and fight through to get value is what happens at the top. But because doors have not really been open to expose this to immigrants a lot, we do not realize that. What happens at the bottom is what still happens at the top. We are just negotiating. I want more budget for my team. I want my ideas to be sponsored. I want more direction for my people. So it's the same processes. You just elevate how you do it based on your level of experience. And you bring it together, all of this, and showcasing it from acquiring the skill set, building a personal brand, going to this location platform to show your skills, and finding out how which skill set within the technology space you need to acquire to be able to propagate your existing knowledge is what is key now.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm loving this conversation. So, guys, you've heard it. It's easy for you to make six figures. You just have to understand the concept of value. And it's not about time. Yeah. If you attach time to value, time is too subjective. You've got to get out of the time space. You've got to get out into the value space. And AI will help you, do multiple things on multiple platforms at multiple times for multiple people at the same time. Technology. We are all users of technology. We are all competent to use technology. If you can use a phone, you can use technology. If you can use text, if you can send an email, you're a technology user. If you're on WhatsApp, you are a technology user. If you're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all of them platforms on this phone, you are a technology user. If you are watching this podcast, you are a technology user. If you are listening to this podcast, you are skilled. So get over that mental block that you don't have the skill, you don't have the know how, you don't know the AI and technology space. You do. You just don't. You're not the people that are coding, but you are the user. Yeah. And they take into consideration what you desire, what you like, and how your user journey will be for them to create. So you are influencing the creators. Why don't you change your mindset about technology and AI? Because you are already an active participator. Wow. I love that. I love that. Now, let's go to careers. So you have said that AI is not going to take people's careers, okay? But we know, from research, you've talked about patterns of the past. We've seen COVID and we've seen post-COVID, and we know that quite a number of more people want to work online, remote working, and all of that. And Gen Z, they want to work from home. They want remote working, and they are ready to resign if you do not give them those flexi working formats, right? So, what does a global employer really care about? What exactly are they looking for when they are looking to hire someone remotely? So, you, Gen Z, you want them to hire you remotely. What do you need to prepare for? What do you need to use to position yourself? Because those guys that are hiring, there are certain things that they are looking for, certain qualities that you really care about. So, what is this that global employers really care about, and exactly what is it they're looking for when they're hiring someone?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Larry. So there's some of the key things that we're seeing now, and I kind of give you a background story before I kind of jump into it, is when post-COVID realized that companies didn't really need you in person. It was just a micromanaging gimmick, and productivity actually increased. But of course, companies or organizations who own buildings and all of that wanted occupied, that they need people to pay for it and all of that, and companies needed that level of control to an extent, especially in North America and Europe, and some of them moved towards hybrid. But some of the things that we started doing as leaders within the tech space was advocating for remote work. But we saw some gaps in there. And I even experienced it because most all my team are remote and scattered around the world. One of the key things when I started hiring in the beginning, before I started spending time in actually building people that I wanted to hire. Because a lot of time we can scream about who we want remote work, but who is building the right capacity or the right people? And one of the people I hired, one of the biggest problem I had was communication. And when we talk about communication, it's not the person wasn't talking. The person, because people confuse talking with communication. Communication requires that you say something. The person is intended for understands it the way you intended it to be understood, and the person can take the right actions. And that's when communication has actually happened. But a lot of people believe I've sent you a message, I've given you a one-liner, that's enough information. But for you to be working remotely, I might need you to be able to assume the second and the third follow-up questions that I might have and provide all of that in the full context of I told you to do this task. This is what I've done. I couldn't do this part. I thought about a plan B. These are the options that are available. I think this is the best, and this is my recommendation. So now all I need to do is just choose and move on. So communication is ensuring that you have clear and concise, detailed information provided that help businesses to be able to take decisions or get update on progress on deliveries. And that's one the as much as and every of our programs that I've taught and I've trained, because of where I've seen this gap, I spend hours literally focusing on this because everybody thinks they are a good communicator. But 90% of the time we assume rather than communicate. One person is assuming, I thought this is what you meant. But nobody is confirming to say, is this what you actually intended? Is this how you want me to do it? And removing out assumption and bringing in clarification actually evolve your communication skills. And the second part is reliability. People want people that can deliver, and not just deliver on time and maintain consistent output, which means that this week, if you're working from home, you should have your own structure. This is when I'm in front of my desk, and I would behave as the way I would behave if I was in the office. If I said I would deliver this for 2 hours, I'm able to communicate. So you see communication coming back again. On time to say if there's going to be delays, not excuses by the time you say, oh, this came up. Did you prepare? And a lot of times when it comes to collaboration, it's about ensuring that you're preparing people's mind for expectation. Because disappointment does not come from you not delivering. It comes from wrong expectations of your delivery. And the wrong expectation could be in time, could be in outcome, or it could be the way the delivery came out. So ensuring that this is, if you're going to be working on certain tasks for a day or two, people know and they can predict your delivery. And the third part is self-motivation. Because one thing we're seeing is, and I've worked remotely for years, and I've been lucky to work with companies that giving me the flexibility and also work with clients that, from time to time bring me into their locations to, catch up and all of that. But not all companies are able to afford that for people in non-managerial level or leadership level, right? So you need to deal with your own self-motivation because at work you can see your colleagues, you can talk to them, you are forced to separate your personal life immediately you get into the office and focus on work because there are people around and there are structures around to hold you accountable and stay productive. But now you're working from home and then you need to motivate yourself, you need to hold yourself accountable. And there are days that will be dragging and you need to do things that you are not comfortable. And one of the leaders I worked with years ago told me one thing about working is as you grow, it's not about how you feel about the work you're doing. It's about the value that that work will give. And when you understand the value, you're able to push yourself through the delivery, even though that might not be something you enjoy doing. So, how do you self motivate yourself to ensure that you're able to get the work done? Because sometimes it's not a skill set problem that make people fail in remote work. The fact that they're not able to self regularize themselves to add value. And lastly, cultural fit. People want come work with people that they understand that they will be able to fit into the work dynamics of the company and interact virtually. If your company is the type that wants, there are a lot of tools nowadays that we train people and we help people get more specialized in and be able to utilize some for communication like Slack and all of that, some for documentation, some for presentation, some for tracking progress, like projects and operational deliveries and all of that. Utilizing these tools properly and then also engaging with people. There's certain companies, and that's one of the areas I say as immigrants we struggle with, which is not assimilating into the culture that we're looking to draw from. You're working with Americans, so you're working with Europeans, so you're working with Canadians, and you do not know their sports, you don't know the kind of chit chat, you don't include yourself in banters. And this is something I kind of learned from an executive I worked with. I'm an introvert, but because I love technology, it brings out the side of me that you never really hear on a normal day. But I was coaching people, I was supporting my team, but I noticed there's this other guy that everybody is excited about. I give more value, but he brings more excitement as a leader. And I looked at what he was doing because you have to learn for people around you. He knows their birthdays. He knows their kid's name. Those small banters that we throw in conversation. So the first 5 minutes is about breaking the atmosphere and making people comfortable. Your kid's birthday was last week. How did it? And I realized, and I started paying attention to leaders who do those small banters and checking on people and get involved in these conversations. And I realized they're able to get value out of people. People are willing to push, and people are motivated to work with them because of the energy that they bring. And I realized it wasn't only about skill sets, the cultural fit and the energy that you bring to the team. And I worked with certain people that I saw that their value were low, but they were the magnet of the team. They're able to motivate and galvanize the team. Now it now became very clear that your soft skills, your hard skills will give you the opportunity, but your soft skills will retain the opportunity. And this
Wow.
is why it becomes imperative that if you want to work in a remote culture, you focus on these soft skills because they can get anybody to use tools, but getting people that they enjoy working with, getting people that bring value outside tools is what is key now.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Finn. We've got a few more questions to go. Now, please share one or two mindset shifts that transform the way that your clients or students approach tech career.
Yeah. So the first one of the biggest mindset I see is move from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, which is that they believe that the tech space is inclusive. Of course, every industry has their challenges. We can talk about gender issues, we can talk about different types, we can talk about demography, we can talk about culture. But if you move from the mindset of, oh, people don't want to employ me, or people don't want people that look, or people don't think my skills are valuable, to saying there are opportunities. And this is a conversation I've had a lot of times with a lot of my mentees where they say, oh, people don't want to ask them one simple question. You want a job? They said, yes. How many jobs do you want? They said, one. How many jobs are you applying to? Hundreds. So you're just looking for one person to take a chance on you. So why do you care about the 99%? Because all you want is one. So if you shift that mindset of saying, okay, there's somebody out there that wants the value I can give, regardless of my location, regardless of my background, it helps you to see the glass from half empty to half full. And the second key thing is seeing tech as a tool. And the word I use when I talk to my mentors, I talk to other leaders, I talk about companies trying to utilize tech is see tech as an enabler of value. Because tech isn't replacing what you're doing. It's enabling you to do it better, faster, or saving you time or money in doing that. So using tech to break those traditional career barriers rather than thinking about it to your confined geographical limitations. And countries and people that have seen this and been able to utilize it are doing really great. I can talk about China to the extent that presidents, we don't need to talk and screaming, say they are not taking your job. They understand enabling. India is also doing it quietly. Philippines is also doing it too. And they're focusing on two things. Let's move from scarcity to abundance in our mindset. And let's see tech as a tool to give value that makes the world smaller and location no longer.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm loving this, man. So, what are the three most misunderstood things about AI and the job market right now?
The biggest one is that AI will completely replace jobs. It won't. In reality, AI will complement human jobs, not eliminate them. So what AI will do is enable humans to elevate out of basic tasks so that they can focus on creativity, which is something that is dampening nowadays. But AI is forcing us now to be creative. Instead of you showing up and doing repetitive tasks, that AI can understand the patterns and do for us. It's not forcing you to think about how to make things better. Second thing is that many people think that AI is one size fits all solution.
Mm,
However, the most valuable skills is understanding how AI can enhance your human work and creativity in your industry. It's not one size fits all. In the healthcare, the expectation is different. In the oil and gas, and a lot of people do not even realize that even the industries that we're thinking are very traditional are taking advantage of AI. The mining industry, even the logistics, we are now seeing the problem around logistics. I was looking at a conversation recently by the Minister of Information Technology in Nigeria at one of the conferences on AI and all of that. And one of the key things that stood out that I was saying about the African market is you cannot, and this is something I have been paranoid and talking about for years, you cannot take a solution like Uber, bring it to Africa, and not bring in the cultural nuances that will make it work for us. And who brings in that cultural nuances? Us. Because we understand our problem.
mm,
So it's not a one size fits all. And thirdly, AI exists in every industry. AI is just tech on steroids. That's the only thing. AI is already in your industry.
Right. Wow.
That's helping you. And if you do not figure out how to drive it and you're thinking that AI will just be there doing the basic, because right now we're just scratching the surface, which is conversational AI.
Wow. Wow.
We're just having conversation. We'll get to a level, and if you're not start understanding what are the things that technology can make better in my industry and understanding and preparing yourself, it's not going to take your job. But the people in your industry, that are your colleagues today, that understand this will become your boss.
Wow. 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 Now you've built over 30 high impact products. You've helped professionals transition into the digital economy. So what are you currently working on that can benefit our listeners right now?
Yeah, thank you for that. One of the key things or the most important thing I started seeing is we need to bring people that understand this, that look like us. A few years ago, I was part of a black tech company and I went for a conference where we had like a leadership conversation. I went for dinner. We're about 20 top tech executives in North America. And I was seeing in each company, we had the minimum companies that have thousands of employees, maybe one tech leader that looks like you or a minority, not even just black, minority. I started asking our questions. I realized that all of us that were leaders had the same problem, which is we're able to break the barriers, but we did not have opportunities to have these conversations to show people the landmines that they could avoid that will shorten their trajectory to be able to get to where we. And yes, there are conversations that are happening around the black space minority, but when you look at it from the immigrant lens, 90% of them do not understand the challenges of moving from country to country and leaving your entire structure, leaving your comfort zone to come and start thriving in another field. So why don't we bring together people that are still in Africa, people that are abroad, that understand this global shift to come talk about technology, mindset, careers, and that was how we bettered Tech Force Connect. Prior to this, it was me and a couple of people, just having interviews or talking about people about tech and even hosting sessions, live Q&A sessions. Talk. It started from 5 people. Even one person initially was people reaching out to me. I was just mentoring to 5, to 20, to 50. So point was 500. And I had to tell myself the truth. I needed more people that were smarter than me, that had more I had other experiences that I might not have had to have conversation, and that was how Tech Force Connect was born. See, let us bring together to talk about technology in different fields. Because I've heard Oprah say this, I've heard a lot of people within the media space talk about this, saying you cannot be in the future that you cannot envisage, which means you have to see to the destination. So it becomes easier. You want to, and that's what a GPS is. It tells you this is where you're going to get to, this is how you get it, and you trust it to follow you. But if you do not have a clear direction on a path that have worked for people, it becomes harder. And that's why we brought in Tech Force Connect to say, let's come talk about technology from the immigrant and the minority lens. Let's come talk about tech. Let's all talk about our fields and how tech is influencing it. Digital marketing, product, project, even startup CEOs. Let's even bring AI CEOs that are building product. Come talk about the intricacies of what is happening. Another thing we're also doing is building accelerators, which is let us get you job ready. You want to become a product manager, a business analyst, let us teach you the soft skills and let us put you into the practical area to build a live product. Because the biggest problem we're seeing is the self-doubt. And if I sit in the car with you and I show you how to drive, and then we switch seats and then you drive before, and then I get out of the car and then I'm giving you information or direction on how to drive, it takes away that self-doubt of I don't know how to drive because you've gone through the pattern. Let us do that with technology for you and build the needed skills.
Wow, wow,
And
wow,
those are
wow.
two of the key areas we're focusing on. Let's bring people together to talk about tech. Let's equip people with the skill set so that if you're in doubt about your skill set, you see people that have done it and connect.
Fantastic. One last question for you. What is product thinking and why should non-techies like me care about product thinking?
Yeah, so it started for us from design thinking, which is let us design something that is valuable to the user. So the user journey, like you mentioned, how would the user go through using our product? And over time, we're like, why don't you just think about the entire thing we are building, not just how they use it, but the entire product? Let us put the user at the center of it. How do we meet the need of a user so that we can drive value for business? And it's not just about the technical side, but the user experience and the business outcome. Because a lot of times people get drunk on their own Kool-Aid. And it happens a lot within the tech space where you see people love their product and they sell their product more than the users. And in the love that they have in their product, they're building a product for themselves rather than for the customer. I will see that happen in the US a lot where you will hear this company has closed down or they are shut down, they are firing people because they were not building for user. And this led to us elevating to say, don't just design the experience. Think about the experience and think about the business outcome and ensure that everything revolves around the users. Because every product is either paid with time or money. Facebook, you're paying with your time. And Facebook is monetizing your time for eyeballs, in terms of eyeballs for people to pay for ads and all of that. Or you're paying monthly subscription for a product. But if you do not see value and it doesn't meet your needs, like I said, humans were innately selfish. How does this give value to you? The more value you give, the more time people spend on your product or the more money they spend using your.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much, Dr. Finn. I'm just going to ask you some very quick rapid fire questions as we wrap this up. Sharp, sharp questions. Remote work for you or in office work?
Remote work any day because it offers flexibility and access to global talent.
All right. The second one, biggest lie people believed about tech careers.
I don't know how much to keep repeating it. You don't need to be a coder, a software developer to succeed in tech. 99% of tech roles don't require coding.
Wow, wow. Number three, one underrated skill in today's job market.
Critical thinking. The ability to analyze, question, and solve problems creatively. It's becoming something that people take for granted and is the biggest skill set now.
Wow, wow. Most exciting product you have ever worked on.
Yeah, so AI recommendation products, and slew of them. One of them was within the e-commerce space where you want to buy shoes instead of you going there and you can't remember the name of the shoe from the picture, is able to look for it and pull it out for you. And also an AI remote job platform that matches you to the right.
So I'm going to put you on the spot now. Get ready, get ready. You did not know, you did not know this. Get ready, get ready, get ready. So you've also imagine that you are an artificial intelligence platform. You have seen the pattern of my work, what I've done in the past, right? What kind of questions would you ask so that you can understand those patterns and you can optimize to create the greatest value?
So the key things I focus on to ask is to understand, build out the persona of your ideal customer, which is what are their demography, what are their pain points, what are their challenges, and what are the opportunities that are there for them. Because that's the foundation of any product. If you do not get the customer right, everything else is like selling winter jackets in Lagos to people.
Wow, powerful. Yesterday, I put together my group of coaches that I'm mentoring. So I have a 12-month mentorship program for coaches. And this was exactly what I was teaching them. The 8 P's of building a business: persona, the people, the purpose, also ensuring that you have the right programs, the right products, the right pricing. You've got to get it all right. And you've got to look at the past. Who paid you for what? What did they ask you for? What are people asking for that you are interested in and you are passionate about? Because if you don't get those questions right, you will be trying to navigate in the dark without light. Thank you very much, Dr. Finn, for your wealth of knowledge and wisdom that you've shared with us. Listeners out there, honestly, this has been a very real, relevant, timely interview. Don't just keep it to yourself. Let your employers listen to it. Let your friends listen to it. Let family also listen to it. Share it on your platforms and make sure that people get to hear this message. On that note, call it a wrap for today. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. I am successful. I look for and find opportunities where others see nothing. I am a lifetime learner. I am solution focused. I see only solutions. I am a solution.